So you want to learn how to bench press? You came to the right place. Hey, what's happening, guys? Rob here, Benchinator at Laserlift Productions. Now today I'm going to be teaching you how to execute the bench press with proper and safe form. The bench press is not only one of the best exercises you can do for your chest, but also your deltoids and your triceps. It is also, of course, one of the three main lifts in the sport of powerlifting, so you're going to need to focus on that a bunch if that is your main goal. Now there are a few things we need to do before we even sit down on the bench to get proper setup. Let's jump right into those. The first thing you want to make sure is that there's even weight on both sides of the bar. I can't count the amount of times on Instagram or just YouTube or the internet in general where someone accidentally adds a 5 or a 10 to both sides of the bar to where the other side didn't. And that's bad for, of course, numerous reasons. Of course, that's dangerously unsafe. Especially that, like I just mentioned, you want to put a clip on the bar because even if you don't have uneven weight or if the bar comes up at a slight angle like you see most times, mine actually does that too. My left arm comes up slightly faster than my right arm does. If you don't have a clip on the bar, that weight, whichever one is lower, is going to start to slide off. And then that's going to, of course, contribute to the seesaw effect. You might want to skip the clip if you don't have a spotter, if you're benching by yourself, because the only way that you have really to get out of there is to either roll the weight up if you're using a light weight, but if you're using a heavy weight, you don't really want to do that because it's going to be painful on your ribs and your abs and your legs. So the only real weight you have, the only real option you have to do is to dump the bar if you fail. Now the next thing, which is really simple but super overlooked, is that you want to make sure that the bench and the bar are both symmetrical in the rack. This is because, unlike the squat, where if it is unsymmetrical, you can move around freely. But on the bench press, your back is situated on the bench, so you don't really have that freedom to move around. You know, you'd be benching at a weird, like, unsymmetrical angle, kind of. Now, once you get those three things down, we can now move on to the next thing, actually laying down on the bench to get set up. Okay, now once you get those two things done, we can actually go into our next thing, which is our pre-lift setup. Now, first thing you want to do is make sure you have a good foot position. Correct foot position is good for two reasons. One, is going to allow you an easier time to arch your back, and two, it's going to allow you to get better leg drive. Leg drive is an overlooked part of benching, because leg drive can actually significantly increase your bench press right off the bat, because it's really a technique thing, not really an exercise you have to work at. Proper foot position is slightly back behind your knees, so that you can get that leg drive. And the second thing you want to do, which I mentioned already, is you want to arch your back slightly. Not a huge, massive arch, there's a slight arch in your back, because that's going to allow you to put your shoulders in a safer position. The next thing is going to be the correct pin height for you to lift off of. Because you don't want it to be super down low to where you're basically doing a full rep. And you also want it to be up high to where you have no lockout power. You want it to be slightly above the sticking point, which should be parallel, probably about right here, to where your arms kind of form 120-degree angle, or a 45-degree angle, whichever one that most of you guys probably don't math, but then that. Then there's also how you grip the bar. You don't want to grab with a false thumbless grip. This is really important because if your hands start to get sweaty, or if the bar just slips like this and it gets sweaty and just slips out, you're going to end up like this guy. That means like dead, isn't it? Well, bad puns aside, let's move on to the next bit. Okay, so now we're going to talk about packing the shoulders. And basically how you pack your shoulders is, what you want to do is you want to squeeze your shoulder blades together and keep them back and down. Now why you want to do that is, one, you don't want to bench all the way up here, because that's going to take the chest out of the movement and put more of the focus on the deltoid, which is going to lead to a high risk of a shoulder injury. And again, too, speaking of taking the chest out of the movement, we want to keep our shoulder blades down and back for the duration of the press. We don't want to press and lead with our shoulders and let our shoulder blade come off the bench. That's because in a pushing movement, whichever muscle was in front is going to be the main driver out of these two. So if I push up, this means the deltoid is the main movement. If I keep it back and I push up and the chest is in front, the chest is going to be the main movement. Now moving on to grip width, sticking with that same theme of not wanting to bench all the way up here, you don't want to grab super wide to where your arms get internally rotated and form a straight line. Because again, that's going to take the chest out of movement and put more emphasis on deltoid, leading to an increased risk of injury. Now, I can't tell you to grab a certain finger on a certain knurling of the bar, because all bars are different and all arm lengths are different. Like your arm length's not going to be the same as mine. It's not going to be the same as your workout partner or another guy at the gym or whoever. So what I'm going to tell you to do is find the right arm angle you like to bench at. The more close you go in here, you don't want to bench all the way out here. You don't want to bench all the way in here because it's going to focus mostly on triceps. The closer you go in, the more triceps it is. The farther you go out, the more chest it is. So find that right angle between 60 and 45 degrees. And at the bottom, you want to see where your forearm is perpendicular to the ground, where it's formed straight up. So mine will be right here. I go up, and then I go back, and that's when I lock onto the bar. Now, when you lock onto the bar when you do the lift off, you don't want your wrist to be bent back like this. Again, for two reasons. One, it's going to put a lot of stress on the cartilage right here in your wrist. And two, it's going to disperse a lot of energy because the weight right here, the gravity will be pointing down right here, and the forces right here running beside each other. You don't want that because that's going to, again, disperse a lot of energy. When you go right here, the gravity is going to be pointing straight down, and it's going to meet that force of you pushing up. It's going to allow for a greater bench press. And now we've got all these steps set up before the lift. We can actually lift off and talk about executing an actual rep. Now, before you lift off, you want to make sure that the bar is right above your eyes. This will allow you to set up a proper bar path because it'll give you enough room to push straight and back, which is, again, the proper way you should push up the bar. Now, in order to lift it off, it's optimal to have a spotter, but if you don't, it's fine. You're just going to need to use a little bit lighter weight because you don't have that lockout power because, again, the bar is slightly behind you. Now, when you lift off the bar, you want to start with the bar right above your shoulders. And then when you lower it, you want to lower it down to your lower chest, not right above your shoulders, because then you're going to learn that shoulder impingement. You want to lower it right on your lower chest, and when you push up, you want to make sure you squeeze your glutes, your core, and your quads together, and then get that leg drive to push up and back. Because that leg drive is going to be up this way, back, and it's going to allow you to press at that angle. So the thing about basic physics, when you press up and back, you're not pressing against the full force of gravity. You're pressing against a fraction of it. Once you lift it up and back and got full lockout and extension, there you have completed a full rep of the bench press. Hey guys, so that's it for this tutorial. That's how you safely and properly execute reps of the bench press. If you like this tutorial, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it with all your gym bros. And comment how often do you bench press and what kind of a split do you follow. Are you bench pressing once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? What's your goals? Well, besides that, make sure that comment, share, like, comment again. Besides that, peace out.